against our hidden ones. Why were we hidden? Because in order to get freedom, we had to go through the Underground Railroad.
Right.
In order for the Mexicans to get back to their land, they got to go through underground tunnels.
Right.
In order for the natives to get free, they had to flee being killed by the U.S. Army.
Right.
You understand? Our hidden ones, because of the transatlantic slave trade, we've been scattered all throughout the world. We've been separated by our oppressors. You understand? Right. Keep going. Psalms chapter 83. You understand? Like, this is what God said in the Bible. This is what the Lord said. Psalms chapter 83. All right. Give me verse. You understand? Give me verse 3.
The book of Psalms. Psalms 83, verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against their people.
This is what the Bible is talking about. God says there was crafty counsel taken against our people. What does this mean? We're going to show you in the Bible. Keep going.
And consulted against their hidden ones.
And consulted against our hidden ones. Why were we hidden? Because in order to get freedom, we had to go through the Underground Railroad.
Right.
In order for the Mexicans to get back to their land, they got to go through underground tunnels.
Right.
In order for the natives to get free, they had to flee being killed by the U.S. Army.
Right.
You understand? Our hidden ones, because of the transatlantic slave trade, we've been scattered all throughout the world. We've been separated by our oppressors. You understand? Right. Keep going.
They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Our oppressors said, let us cut them off from being a nation. This is what it says in the Bible. Now pay close attention to what the scriptures is saying. The goal of these nations was to make sure that our people were separated and were no longer together so that they could destroy us.
Right.
So that they could prey on us.
Right.
So that they could feed on us.
Right.
I'll show you in the Bible. God told King David to say this thousands of years before.
Right.
Now, if anybody knows about the Bible, King David had decades of war against all of the enemies of the nation of Israel because they would have done to us then exactly what they've done to us now.
That's right.
Keep going.
The name of Israel.
That what?
The name of Israel.
The name of Israel. Yasha'Allah in the Hebrew. So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we are the 12 lost tribes of the nation of Israel.
That's right.
This is our identity. Before we were called Afro-Americans and Mexicans and Colombians and Guatemalans and Peruvians and Seminoles and Cherokee and Choctaw, this is what God named us.
That's right.
Issachar and Gad and Reuben and Judah and Benjamin and Levi, Ephraim, Simeon and Zebulun. This is our true identity.
Right.
Keep going.
May be no more in remembrance.
That we would no longer have our names to be remembered. Our identity wouldn't be remembered. Why would we no longer have our names be remembered? Because our oppressors have murdered us and put us on plantations and haciendas, which is a plantation by the Spanish conquistadors that they did throughout the rest of Latin America and the Caribbean, because they would change our names from Yashakar, from Ashur. They would change our names from Napatalia, and now they would name us Argentina.
Right.
They would name us Latino. They would name us Hispanic. They would name us Mestizo. They would name us Indio something, or Afro something, a hairstyle. The word Indian means savage. That's not an identity, but this is what the nations have done to make sure that we do not know that we are the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel.
Right, right.
Keep going.
For they have consulted together.
They did what?
Consulted together.
They consulted together. What does it mean to consult? They have consulted together. Means that they sat down to work together. That's what a consultation is.
Right.
They all got together, and the Lord is going to tell you who. Keep going.
With one consent.
With one consent. Meaning they all were a part of this.
Right.
This was a plan that had been in the works since the Old Testament days.
That's right.
The Moabites, the Ammonites, The Assyrians, since the days of the Old Testament, all of these plans have been in play. Keep going.
They are one confederate against thee. They are confederate against thee.
Meaning they have all joined together. That's what a confederacy means. They have all joined together against the God of the Bible to destroy his people.
Right.
Keep going.
The tabernacles of Edom.
The what?
Tabernacles of Edom.
Tabernacles. The word tabernacle means tents or houses. The tabernacles of Edom. Who is Edom according to the Bible? That is the so-called white man.
Right.
The so-called Caucasian man.
Right.
Because they're not white. White is a color. That's a term that was used. The tabernacles of Edom. Who are the tabernacles of Edom? The Edomite from Spain,
right.
the Spanish Armada, the one from Portugal, from France, from Britain, right. from Ireland. The tabernacles of Edom, the Germans, the French, the Dutch, the Irish. Those are the tabernacles of Edom.
Right.
The Jewish man is known as Amalek in the Bible. The German man is known as Teman in the Bible. All of these things in the Bible.
That's right.
So the tabernacles of Edom, who else?
And the Ishmaelites.
And the Ishmaelites. Ishmael is the so-called Arabs. So now you have the tabernacles of Edom, the Ishmaelites, keep going.
Of Moab. Of Moab.
Moab, the so-called Korean, the so-called Chinese. Black man, that is why they are all in your neighborhood. That's why they have businesses in your neighborhood.
Right.
It is not by coincidence that the Koreans, the Vietnamese, the Iraqis, the Afghans, and everyone else America went to war with, they now all have businesses in the black community.
That's right.
They now all own land in Central and South America.
Right.
All of the former plantations throughout the West Indies are now owned by the same people.
That's right.
After the British and all of the former colonies formerly outlawed slavery, then they set up the same people that they had a confederacy with to rule over the top of God's chosen people.
That's right.
But there's more. Keep going.
And the Hagarenes.
The Hagarenes, so-called Africans. Keep going.
Gabal and Ammon.
Gabal and Ammon, the so-called Japanese man. All of the various families of the Arabs and the Africans. The only reason that America is flooded with all of these nations is because the land of the so-called Native American and the so-called Mexican and the so-called Seminole, they were murdered and had their land stolen.
That's right.
They've been plotting to do this since the days of King David.
Right.
They've been plotting to do this for thousands of years.
Right.
You understand? Keep going.
And Amalek.
Brother, got a question with it? Brother, you said you had a question? No sweat. What's your question, brother? You might have to do the math. It's one of us to use.
I wanted you to break down Ephesians 6, 12.
Ephesians 6 and 12?
Yeah.
No sweat. We'll come to it in just a second. Keep going.
The Ishmaelites.
The Ishmaelites. Keep going.
Of Moab. And the Hagarenes. Gabal and Ammon and Amalek. The Philistines.
Philistines. All of these nations, the Philistines, the so-called South Africans, we spent decades and centuries, hundreds of years of war against all of these nations. That's why your preacher don't read the Old Testament.
Right.
You think the Bible is about all people coming together. That's not realistic.
Right.
The Indian family separated India and Pakistan because one half of the family wanted to serve the gods of the Arabs and the other half of the family wanted to serve the traditional East Indian gods.
That's right.
You don't understand life, black man. They done lied to you.
Right.
You would never get the German white man and the Jewish white man to get together. They would never join each other. Never.
Right.
You'll never get the Kurds and the Sunnis and the Shiites to join together.
Right.
They'll never join together.
Right.
You'll never get all the West Africans, all the East Africans to join together. Never.
Right.
Never. You'll never get those states to join Russia again.
That's-
Never. The only people that are simple enough to think that all people are supposed to come together are these 12 tribes right here.
Right.
Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. The exact same wars are being fought for thousands of years are still being fought to the same day.
Right.
Over the exact same land. Keep going.
With the inheritance of Tyre.
This is what the Lord is saying, man. All of these nations work together to wipe our people out. to wipe out our identity, to change our names. The transatlantic, think of it, Deuteronomy 28 and 68. The transatlantic slave trade was not just so-called white people. That's a common misconception.
Right.
They didn't do this by themselves. The transatlantic slave trade, everybody got rich selling us. We were in Africa fighting the Africans for centuries.
Right.
You understand? We migrated from our homeland in the Middle East on the East Coast. We left the Middle East and fled into Egypt. When Herod the Great wanted to kill Christ as a baby, the angel told Joseph to take your wife and toddler and flee into Egypt. We customarily fled into Egypt.
Right.
You understand? Just like when we were running from the south, what did we do? We ran to the north.
Right.
That's in the Bible. Christ told us when our cities were capitals were compassed about with Roman armies to flee into the mountains. That's in Matthew about the 25th chapter.
Right.
That's when Titus wiped out what was left of our government system in the land of Israel. And we fled into Africa.
Right.
And we migrated from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast. You understand?
Right.
Freedom.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
The Bible says that God will bring us into Egypt. The word Egypt means slavery or bondage. When the Greeks took over that land of Egypt, it was not called Egypt. It was called Mizraim. You understand? The land of Egypt. You understand? The Greeks took Egypt over and they named it Egyptos because they saw that the entire Egyptian empire was built off of one nation of people absolutely oppressing another. Let the stories back. God said in the Bible that we were going to go into a house of bondage a second time. How? Into Egypt with ships. How? With ships. With ships. This is the transatlantic slave trade in the Bible. Where's that slavery in America sign? The transatlantic slave trade in the Bible. You can get a picture of that sign over there. The transatlantic slave trade is in the Bible. The transatlantic slave trade was comprised of the Europeans, the Africans, the Arabs. The Arabs are the ones that built the ships. The Africans are the ones we have been fighting that told the Europeans where we were. Hannibal, which was an African general, was defeated during the Second Punic Wars. Leo Scipius Africanus gained access to North Africa by defeating the African general Hannibal during the Second Punic Wars. Since the fall of our capital city, they have been searching for the 12 tribes. The conquistadors were looking for the 12 tribes, and they found them in the Taínos in Puerto Rico. They found them in the Caribs in you understand? In the West Indies, in the Aztecs in Mexico, in the Mayans in Central America, in the Inca in South America, the Arawaks and the Amerindians. They found exactly who they were looking for. And they knew, just like the Bible says, that they had been confederate against our people for thousands of years. And they knew that if they captured God's chosen people, that they would be able to build Egypt the same way that ancient Egypt was built. They would be able to do the same thing.
That's right.
They would be able to have the same great empire. That's why if you go downtown, you see Roman Colosseums everywhere.
Right.
They got your boxing matches in Caesar's Palace. Your courthouses are set up like ancient Rome.
Right.
Ancient Rome was 100% modeled off of ancient Egypt. You understand? Everything we seeing is the Egyptian and the Roman Empire all over again.
Right.
Like that's what the Bible was telling us, man. Keep going.
By the way, whereof I spake unto thee.
Meaning our homeland, where we were at that time when he said this, we were in our homeland in the Middle East.
Right.
That's where we come from. You understand?
Right.
Meaning our homeland where we were in the Middle East. Keep going.
Thou shalt see it no more again.
The Lord said we wouldn't see our homeland again.
Right.
That's why if you ask 10 black men, what is your nationality? You're going to get 10 different answers.
Right.
Somebody going to tell you his neighborhood. Somebody going to tell you what church he go to. Somebody gonna tell you he's a Muslim. Somebody gonna tell you they're a color. Some of them is gonna tell you I'm just myself.
Right.
But you ask 10 Chinese gonna tell you they're Chinese. Ask a Nigerian about Ethiopia and find out that all Africans aren't the same.
Right.
Go and ask a Korean man, is he Japanese? See what answer he gives you. Ask a Jewish man, is he German? Ask a French man, is he Dutch?
Right.
You'll find out that there are big differences amongst people because God separated all people from the very beginning of the Bible.
That's right.
They've been running lies on you, black man. They've been lying to us, brothers and sisters. We've been lied to our whole life.
Right.
That's why you got men trying to be women.
That's right.
You got women trying to be a man. You got women trying to have a family without a man when you can't make a baby without a man.
Right.
The brat and her girlfriend went and got impregnated by the sperm of a man.
Right.
Meaning the absolute foolishness of two women wanting a family but not wanting to do what is necessary to get the family.
Right.
But our oppressor creates a way to go around God so that you and your wickedness can still pretend like you have a family with one woman pretending to be a man and the other woman pretending to be the woman. But the woman that wants to be the man is the one that carries the baby.
Right.
And it's a bunch of goddamn confusion.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It makes no sense.
Right.
This is why the Bible is telling us. Like they run games on us, man. Everything is male and female. Your food is male and female.
Right.
If two hens get together, you'll never have another chicken a day in your life.
Right.
That's it. Without the rooster, there's no more chicken. Without the bull, there's no more cattle.
That's
no
right.
more sheep, no more fish, no more nothing. Everything is over without male and female.
Right.
Because that's how God set it up from the beginning. You can't get electricity to flow throughout your house without a female and a male point to move the electrical current. Don't try to get a jump on your battery. Let you put both the positives together and see if you get a car to start.
Right.
See if you get power.
Right.
See if you don't blow your damn battery up acting like a fool, thinking that male and female don't matter, listening to our oppressor.
Right.
That is who has taught our people these lies. That's why we smoking ourselves today. That's why we depressed, black man. That's why we killing each other. That's why our families is torn apart. That's why your woman is at your throat.
Right.
That's why our kids in the street fighting and killing each other. Go wait until elementary school, high school, middle school. Wait at the bus stop. Any day. Pick a day. Wait at the bus stop and you will see how much black and Hispanic kids absolutely hate each other.
Right.
Go wait at the white kids bus stop. You won't see that. You know why? Because they love each other.
That's right.
They have love for their forefathers. They love their founding fathers. They love their history. They love their records. They love their Alamo. They love their founding fathers, their preamble, their constitution, their God bless America, their flag. But it's not for us.